It's almost like poetry. The poetry that refuses to succumb to pressures of its environment. I am proud to have been kissed with this gift of UCCSl Charter School Woodlawn campus. It has been my pleasure to do these speeches because every single time I'm writing them or thinking about what I'm gonna say, I am reminded of how much I have gained from this institution. From the way in which I am able to dance with the box of confinement and create work that touches the surface, yet finds the magic to dive within the depths of academia and thinking. To the way that I address issues of controversy, both in and outside of the classroom. It was in the womb of UCCSl Woodlawn campus that I was nourished with a faculty that cared not only about teaching, but about sustaining the dignity and well-being of a group of people and of a society. One of those people is a sophomore. I remember my freshman year history class taught by Ranve Price. His passion for ensuring that students from the south side of Chicago, like myself, still felt a sense of dignity whenever they looked in the mirror. He was unapologetic about instilling a sense of social responsibility within each and every one of his students. I entered UCCSl Woodlawn campus as a freshman, as a ninth grader, and that began my journey of self-discovery and self-belief. From the very first moment I stepped into the school, I felt something magical. This magic was the energy from those around me who knew my mind, spirit, and being would be powerful before I could even gather up the guts to look another human being in the eyes. From the very beginning, I was told that I was supremely intelligent by courtesy of Shane Evans and Asada Moore. It had never occurred to me that those words were beyond magical until times when doubt would attempt to creep up on me, even after I arrived at Stanford. Those words played over and over in my head and still continue to play this tune of pride, this tune of self-assurance, because there were times when I truly needed them. As impactful as it was to know that there was a team of people who saw me in a lens that I was far from seeing myself through, I was forced, and I use force in a very loving manner, but I was forced to show how moved I was to believe in my own abilities. I used to stand there every morning and recite the creed until one day I began to believe that maybe, I am a torchbearer and I do control my future. I also began to believe that my goal was to make this world a better place for all. It was then that I stopped reciting the creed and I started to perform it. I would elevate my voice until every ounce of my being felt the power of the words. I would elevate my voice until I began to live those words, and I would elevate my voice until I began to be those words. That was the day I learned to fake it until I become it. So I'm at this point in my life right now where I'm trying to figure out whether I'm still faking it or whether I've become it. Whichever one it is, I know it feels good. For lack of better words, it feels good, so I'm cool. This sense of self-belief, self-affirmation, and self-validation inspires me to live my truth. This self-validation has placed me in a space where I question why this isn't the case for many other people like me, for Black people from the South and West sides of Chicago, for Black people from other low-income communities around the states. UCCSl Charter School Woodlawn campus provided a space of intellectual vitality and nourishment. Such an environment made room for conversation and questioning of various systems, both social and institutional, that impacted the livelihood of so many people that failed to meet the mark of what an American is. I have been instilled with a cultural obligation to see and understand my role within the social and political unrest in our society today, and how I can utilize platforms of privilege that I have earned that comes with a Stanford education, and a Stanford degree. So you can mark my words. So I pledge to use this education to bring visibility to often marginalized communities. From very intense debates with college peers in the classroom and shared social spaces to moving conversations about experience and the gaps these experiences create, I am fueled with passion. I oftentimes tell students that I mentor with similar stories and backgrounds as myself that there's privilege in your experience. We have lived through plenty of can'ts and don'ts and wants, that all that is left now is to know that we can, we do, and we will do more than just survive. We were placed underwater so we grew gills. We were given night so we created stars. We were given burdens so we made soulful music. We were buried, but they did not realize that we were seeds. We have such a strength about us, a song beside our experience. So I say this again, it's almost like poetry. Each day a stanza. The lyrics of our experience bleeds between the ink and the paper. I am proud of the work that UCCSl Charter School Woodlawn campus does. And I am living proof that it works.